Hey there, YouTubers. Right, so in this video, we're going to give you an overview of the Gigabyte B660 Gaming X motherboard. You see here it is priced $169.99. Let's start with that. This price is a really good price, honestly, for 12th gen. 12th gen is honestly overpriced to begin with. And with inflation and all the other crap that's happening, this may go up in price. You never know. So, how does this compare to the motherboards you've seen on my channels that I have actually bought and unboxed? This is somewhat in the middle of them. We've done the H610M, which was about $100. We did an ASRock B660M-HDV, which I believe I got for $109. We also did the Asus TUF B660M Wi-Fi, right? This one would be somewhat comparable to that, except for that's micro ATX and this is ATX. We've done the Asus H610 Plus D4. And that was, I think, exactly the same price point, or this might be $10 more, but this is a much better deal for what you're getting. We did a couple of Z690 motherboards, okay? So, having said that, I think I can give you a pretty good overview of this motherboard. Now, the price of this thing, is okay, right? But you got to look at the features you're getting. This does have Wi-Fi, all right? So built-in Wi-Fi. If this didn't have built-in Wi-Fi, something like this should go for anywhere from $129 to $149, though you will never see a motherboard this good in that price range. So it does support DDR4 RAM. Let's go ahead and blow this up so we can get a better look at it. 4 sticks of DDR4 RAM. Now, for those of you that are like, well, I think I want D5 RAM or DDR5 RAM. Right now, it's really not worth spending the money on the D5. I have a Z690P Asus motherboard, DDR5 RAM. It cost a ton of money to get that RAM in there. I don't honestly see a real performance boost. Now, when things get to 7,000 megahertz for that RAM, yeah, you better bet that you're going to want DDR5. Right now, it's not worth it, okay? So, up here you can see you've got the CPU fan header. You've got an optional CPU fan header. All right. ARGB here, the 3-pin one. Going over to our CPU, LGA 1700, LGA 1800. What does that mean, folks? That means this will support 13th gen. What else does this, the CPU for this? What are the other important characteristics? This is really meant for a lock processor, okay? So what does that mean? Preferably, you would not put a processor that ends in K in this motherboard. Now, if you do, will it work just as good? In some aspects, it will. If you took a Z690 and put one of the unlocked processors in it and just kept it at defaults, ran the benchmarks, you'll get pretty similar numbers in this motherboard. Of course, I did that with the Asus TUF B660M. I did boost the power limits, and I got pretty much the same exact score that I got for a Z690, okay? So over here we have a couple of system fan headers, 2 of those, right? This is going to come from your case. 24-pin power connector. This comes from your PSU, and this powers up your motherboard. USB 3.2. They have, looks like there's only one of these, okay? So if your case has 4 USB 3.0s on it, this motherboard might not be for you, okay? Because you're only going to get to power up 2 of those. If your case has Type-C Charlie connector on it, okay, USB Type-C, you've got that connector there. So this is a good motherboard for a lot of the newer cases. It's unfortunate, though, I don't see a second USB 3.0 header on here, but can't have everything. 4 SATAs, okay, can't see them all from this angle, but these are double stacked. CMOS battery. Of course, what's the benefit of that? If you change something in your BIOS and it just boots to black, good chance if you pull this, wait, 15, 30 seconds, put it back in, it should reboot to BIOS and basically reset the BIOS. Okay, so a lot of people, with their RAM find themselves getting in trouble trying to push that overclock a little too far, and then boom. A lot of times, you can reset your computer multiple times or restart it, and eventually you'll get out of it. If not, CMOS battery. Front panel connectors, including if you have the little speaker that comes with your case to get that beep at startup, that's in here. Couple more system fan headers here, folks. 2 USB 2.0s. Let's switch over to see if we can see it a little better. 2 USB 2.0s here. A bunch of crap over here nobody uses. More ARGB, COM, HD audio right here. Right now, what do we have up here, folks? I'm gonna have to go back and look real quick. Actually, it's right here. PCIe 4.0. So if we could zoom in, you can see that should be Gen. Actually, you can't zoom in, but this one's definitely Gen 4. All right. The two at the bottom, we'll have to look that up. But you see this motherboard, pretty much you have the 3 full-size slots. I do like this motherboard design. It separates this one, where if you put a RTX 3090 and you wanted to put another graphics card in here, you do have pretty good separation to put that. Maybe you have another card in there to help with recording a video. When I say that, you're gaming on this one and you're using secondary card to record. Some people do that. Of course, on this channel, I usually use a secondary computer with a pretty awesome graphics card in it because we have tons of graphics cards and I can get away with that. But some people, can't do that. So this has, if I remember correctly, 4 M.2s in it, even though I only see 3, so I could be wrong. You see, here's your prime one, right, that you want to use. It's got the heatsink. Most people will put their operating system in this one. Does it really matter if these are the same speed? Probably not. Some people would argue that. I haven't actually seen any numbers, and I haven't done the numbers, so they could be right. But I will sometimes put them in here just, it's easier access, right? On this channel, I'm switching stuff out a lot. I don't have as much time to screw around with unscrewing stuff, putting it in. And good chance I will sell this motherboard in the newer condition it looks, the better. So sometimes this has the two-sided tape under it, right? And I'll just leave this one alone the way it is. But that's just, for my purposes. All right, so 2 more drives here. And so this does say triple M.2 up top there. So that's what you get, 3 M.2s. Offhand, not sure if they're all 3 the same speed. Let's look at the side, folks. So 2.5 gig. You can see that right there for the Ethernet. Does that matter for most of us? No. This does have, it looks like, a specific spot for the BIOS to put your USB in. I do not see the little button, though. I don't know if I missed it on the motherboard. For a BIOS update, looks like it's right there. Yeah, right there, folks. Now, is that the only way to update the BIOS with this? Probably not. We'll take a look at the website in a second. Let's go back. Usually you can do it inside of the BIOS. This one, may be more convenient. Maybe a bit of a hassle too. All right. So USB 3.2 here. More 3.2. So, depending on which one these are, different variants. DisplayPort, HDMI, USB 2.0s, 2.0s, your Wi-Fi here, and pretty good audio connector. So if you were looking at the Asus B660M, this has a lot of similarities. Pretty much everything here is the same. It's reordered. That one does not have the the little BIOS update button with the USB, or the BIOS USB. So, if that matters to you, it's here, right? What comes in the box? Well, I can tell you, even though they don't show you a picture, or do they? No. You're going to get a Wi-Fi antenna for the Wi-Fi. You'll get a driver disk. Most of the time, people, download from the internet. You should get some M.2 screws as well. This does not appear to have the cool M.2. It's, I guess, a patented design where you don't have to screw it in. There's a little plastic piece that rotates, and you drop it down on top of the M.2. It doesn't have that. So some of the other features I may have not discussed. This looks to have pretty decent VRM. Of course, some of this stuff is smoke and mirrors, whether it's really that good when they start doing these different numbers for you. But decent sized heat sinks around it, so you would hope this is a pretty good one. Now, of course, there's a huge difference between putting a locked CPU and unlocked as far as TDP goes. That said, when you go with power limits and you adjust those, some of these the 12th gen i7 and i9s, you can really pump some electricity through them, right? So this is actually pretty important for those to get the most performance out of them. Did I miss anything else in here, folks? I think we're pretty good as far as that goes. Now, let's go ahead and look at the website, because there's a couple things to show you guys on that website. And right now we're dealing with this Ukraine war, folks, and I'll be curious in the future when somebody's watching this year from now what ended up happening. We'll look back. Wow. So I don't know why. You know what? We're using the wrong keyboard. Sorry. All right, so here's this motherboard. All right, couple things in here. Obviously, 12th gen Windows 11 is preferred, right? If it really matters, that's another story. QFlash BIOS update, that's that little button I was telling you about. And it would appear triple fast. Can't really tell what that means. Let's look at the specs real quick. So RAM speed up to 4400 megahertz, right? So that's pretty good. Is that the best? No, that is not. For 12th gen, obviously. D5 has higher. We didn't talk about this, but 4 32 gig sticks could work in here if you need that. What I wanted to show you, if I find it, okay, so 1M.2. So I guess we have only one Gen 4 M.2 on this motherboard. So does that really matter? Probably not. Not that many of you are probably using Gen 4 M.2s, but at least on your operating system, you would want to put the M.2 on there. Now, if you're looking at this in the future and you want to know how to update the BIOS, you'll go to support, and then we will come in here to downloads, and we'll see right here BIOS. And if I actually do end up buying this, we'll do a BIOS update video. I actually am eyeing this motherboard. You see the different BIOS versions. This will ship with this guy right here, this F1. And you will see, as time goes on, improvements in hardware compatibility, security, and then when 13th gen comes out, you'll see more. There's a lot of reasons to do BIOS updates. Check out some other videos if you want to see that. Here's where you can find all your drivers for it. Okay. LAN, chipset, da 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 da. Now, if you want to know what CPUs are compatible, here you go. It will support, as far as I can tell, every 12th gen. Okay. So you've got even the most mighty i9 12900K up here. You've got, you know, what hasn't been released yet, as far as I know, the 12900. You know, the low wattage T versions. Okay. So you can see that down here. So every one of these is supported. Now, yours truly has G7400. We've got the 12100F. We've got the 12400F. We have the 12600K. And we have a 12700F. Oh, and we have this Celeron G6900. Okay. That's all the CPUs I have for 12th gen right now. Plans are to get one of these two guys right here. Maybe one of these, but all right, so that's where that is. If you want to find what memory is supported, that's right here, folks. Okay. And you can use these little features to sort it. Okay. 4400 megahertz, which is probably pretty expensive. If you're going 4400, you know, you might want to actually consider the D5 versions of these, if there is a D5 version, but you know, moving to a B660 that's got D5. Of course, if you use your manual, you can find it here. Other stuff for the support list, M.2s, okay, right there. And folks, that's about it. Hope you got something out of this. That is, you know, kind of an overview, I guess, of how to help you out if you do buy this, where to find the stuff. If you wanted to check to make sure your RAM works, you know, always make sure of that, right? You may get that RAM in and find out it's not on the compatibility list and it won't run as fast as you hoped. That's always a bummer. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.